So I have the pleasure of introducing or interviewing Lady Montano, and we thought that a good way to start would be with a short audio clip, and then we'll get into our interview.
For a career, I mean, you have your own band, you've been singing, as I mentioned before, you've won a number of awards. What would you say that you would like to see for yourself in the future? How do you envision yourself as a future performer?
In the future, one of my biggest goals, I like to bridge the gap between the Caribbean and international market. And to do this, I'll be very innovative. I'll come up with musical ideas such as doing tunes so that the international and Caribbean market will accept it. You know?
Yes,
so that the music will be acceptable by both markets.
Sounds like you have a mission.
Very hard one.
Yeah, but I think you can certainly do it.
So, how old was Machel when he had...
Well, that was in 1985. Machel was 10 years of age, before some of you all were born.
Listening back on that audio clip, what are some of your thoughts that come to mind when you reflect on that clip and the time?
Well, it goes back to about more than 3 decades. And I remember just recently we completed his documentary, The Journey of a Soca King. And when he was asked, he gave the same answer. So that over the years, Machel's mission has remained consistent. And for the people who know him will know that in his pursuits, he has always tried to bridge the gap, and doing that by collaborating with local, Caribbean, and international acts.
So when you think of the theme opportunity, what comes to mind for you?
Opportunities are either created or they are presented to you. I ask myself sometimes, or most times, how do I grasp, or how should we grasp opportunity? Do we sit and wait, or do we go out there? Are we active? Do we make ourselves go out and look and go in search or create these opportunities?
Do you have an example of opportunities that people could go after or go in search of?
Everything is an opportunity. For example, I want to go back into the days of my youthful days, many, many years ago. I remember I came from a poor family, and I wanted to assist my mother. So what I did was, she was a seamstress. So I went out there and I told her, I would like to help. And I started at the age of 15. I started to babysit, and then I started to teach. I was 15 years of age, and I taught somebody at the age of 3. Some of you all will know him, Gonzalez. He died. He was a musician, and I worked for $5 a week, but I took that opportunity to help myself. And that was in the early years.
So if we think about how do we get people to look at their landscape and see opportunities amongst the challenges that are in front of them?
Sometimes we say we're poor so that we don't have opportunity. But I believe my philosophy is that opportunities are there for us all to have. We have the power to have opportunity. We also, as I said, it exists. But we have to decide whether we are going to wait on it or whether we are going to search. We have to be creative. We have to be innovative, because remember, we're not coming from the same position. So some of us will have to create it for ourselves, some of us get it. So I think that we have to be hungry. I think that's the main thing. We have to be hungry, and we have to know that we must be humble with that hunger, and that we are going to get it if we really want it.
So let's dig in a little bit more into that distinction between, so people are poor, some people are poor and they have opportunities, some people are more privileged. Let's expand on that a little bit. Like, do you want to say anything more around that?
Being poor and being rich.
Like, and in search of opportunities. So yeah, so what's the frame or?
For example, let's look at the person who is poor. Sometimes the opportunities are there, but we don't see those opportunities. Sometimes the opportunities are hiding, and we are not given that opportunity. So, for example, we don't read, some of us don't read, some of us don't go out looking. So therefore, somebody like me who will be able to, let's say, mentor somebody, I would like to give that opportunity to somebody, so I go forward and do this. You will find also that in a community is a place where we should start to offer opportunities, especially to the less privileged. We have teachers, we have our, like in your schools, you have teachers who will assist in extracurricular activities, and you know that sometimes this is where your opportunities start. So I think that we should start maybe to concentrate on the mentors. Some of us wait on government, some of us wait on sponsors, but I think that we have to go out there and help those who are less privileged than us.
Yeah. So we had quite a few conversations leading up to this. Do you want to talk about some of the examples of how you've created opportunities in your own life?
As I said earlier on, when I was young, I started by teaching, going out and helping. Then when I left school, I lived in Caranage. I was born in Caranage. I went to school in St. Crispin, and then I went to St. James Sec. When I left school, as I said, I came from a very poor home where I lived with my mother, my sister, and my grandmother. I did well in exam, and I decided I am going to look for the opportunity that I want for myself. So I took up myself and I walked down Frederick Street, and I went to the town hall with my certificate in hand. And I got a job. Some of you wouldn't know it, but it used to be lock joint or something like that. I think they call it URP now. And I got a job as a clerk. Then years passed by again, and I went to university, and after I had my children. And Machel became a young star, but nobody wanted to give this young boy from the country, this time we had migrated, nobody wanted to give him the opportunity of saying, producing him or doing anything for him. So as a parent, I decided I will do it myself. So I took a taxi every day, and I came to PortofSpain from Separia, and I took, at that time it used to be vinyl, and I walked to every single well, it wasn't vinyl store, it was record stores. And I tried to get that sold. Then I walked to every radio station and begged for Too Young to Soca to be played on the radio. And we had to compete with Sparrow, Kitchener, David Rudder, Stalin, all these people, because here is this little 10-year-old coming from the country. Nobody saw him, they only heard the singing. And I did the walking, and I created that first opportunity for him.
And hearing that story is very, very inspiring. And I know in the audience there are probably quite a few artists and people who are looking for those kind of opportunities. But one of the challenges that people often struggle with is, when do they do things for opportunity and when do they do things for money? So when do you decide, I'm going to do this because it's a great opportunity versus I'm going to get paid for this particular activity?
Okay, well, we have to have the sense to know that money is not all. And one of the good things I must say, that money has never been our objective, but we have been fortunate to make money. So what we do is, and even at this age and this stage, Machel still does work for no money. But you have to be able to assess that opportunity and know what it is going to bring for you. Sometimes it's a very big opportunity and there's no money in it. And sometimes it's a small opportunity, you rush it because I'm going to get some bread. You know, like recently, some of you all will see, Rihanna had the Diamond Ball, right? Machel was invited to perform. I don't know because I'm no longer his manager, but I am sure, I am positive it was not about money, but he was able to meet a lot of people and make a lot of contacts, and out of that, much more will come, right? I'll go back to 1985 when, again, before many of you all were born, we had what we call a school tour. So we're going all over the country. We reached Pleasantville, 3 people in the audience. So we always taught our children, if one man pays to see you, you sing to him as though the hall is full. So 3 people. So he went out there and he did what he had to do very well. So we know we're not getting any money. 3 people pay. You can't pay all these little fellas in Panasonic Express from that. But from those 3 people, one gentleman took Machel, gave him $100, and we got several jobs, paid jobs from that one opportunity.
So in leading up to today, we had a conversation about your philosophy and your approach, etc. I wanted you to talk about more around your philosophy of when they talk, we don't answer. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Good. 38 years, Machel Montano has been exposed to the public. And many of those years, and many of those people don't know Machel Montano. So they talk, and they talk, and they talk. And I have taught not just Machel, but Marcus, that let them talk. Some of them don't know, and some of those who talk, they are looking for attention. And if you answer them, you give them the power. And if you ignore them, they're not going to get what they're looking for, which is attention. And we have done so. But we made one exception. Dr. Mashup is here. And the reason why we did so, and we did so because of principle. Principle. And still, the people still didn't want to hear, but it's okay. I've taught my children always to deal with the truth, their truth. And that is what is important.
So earlier you talked about community and the importance of community. So tell us a little bit about your chocolate community and what you've been involved in.
And that's my big business now, eh?
And your sweet.
I am a businesswoman, but at the same time, I also seek my son's interests outside of entertainment. So I'm no longer his manager, but I deal with his other stuff, and Machel is very involved in community work. So a few years ago, he formed the Machel Montano Foundation for Greatness. He said to me that he wanted to start libraries across the country, so to go and read to children and give them the opportunity to know what it is to be great. And to know that greatness, you don't have to be great to be great. You don't have to be anybody big to be great. He looked at people like Sister Teresa, Mahatma Gandhi, Muhammad Ali, Michael Jordan, all M's, plenty M's there. You know, and he said he wanted to go out and read. However, this was his long-term goal. In the interim, came a woman, who we will meet today, I suppose, Jillian Goddard, who visited our office one day, selling chocolates. And we had a store in the airport, and she came to sell us chocolates to sell in our store. And my head is a head that always going. The mind doesn't sleep. It's old, but it doesn't sleep. And I said, but wait, let us have chocolate for Machel Monday, because Machel Monday was happening very close to Valentine's Day. And I think the theme of that year was Love Nation. And we did the chocolate and called it Love Nation. And the idea was loved, and people were attracted to the chocolate, and the chocolate tasted good. So we say, okay, we go in with that. And we did it, and it was successful. And then I decided, let's go deeper into it. And then Julian introduced me to her work, which is community work she was doing, trying to develop this destination chocolate, making Trinidad a chocolate destination. And we joined, and we helped some communities, farming communities, cocoa farmers, help them to make their own chocolate, help them to become self-sufficient, and in turn put their chocolate on the market. And what we did was, through the foundation, we provided them with funds. And remember, it's a business, not a give, but we provided them with what you call soft loans, so that they were able to buy their equipment and assist themselves in training and in that equipment to make their own chocolates. I must say that 5 or 6 of those communities or more that Julian has worked with and that we were able to help are now successfully selling their chocolates on the market and making a profit and helping their communities. And further to that, I really want to say that we moved on from that and went to Siparia. Siparia is the community that is responsible for Machel's musical prowess. And we are working with Y-Farm, helping them now to create their own chocolate, which they launched recently. And even bigger than that, we're going to make a factory, chocolate factory in Siparia, where they will make, the community and the youths of Siparia will make Machel's chocolates.
An idea worth doing is one of the last things that you talk about today. What are your parting words for the TEDxPortofSpain audience, Mrs. Montano?
Well, I know, for example, we say that there are 3 things that you don't ever get back. At least this is what people say. A spent arrow, the spoken word, and lost opportunity. But I must disagree with you. I don't believe in lost opportunity. Again, it's me. And I'll tell you why I don't believe in lost opportunity. I've always taught my children in a very simple way. What pass here and miss here. Good? And I believe in the universe, and I believe, just as we say opportunity, the time must be right. And maybe it was not your time. And I'll give you another example. I have a bigger son, my first son, Marcus. I do everything with my children, big, old, young, everything. So he had applied to the Coast Guard. And we went down there, 1,000 people. It moved from 1,000 to 500 to 50 to what, and then 7. Marcus Montano was in his 7. I dress him up in a suit, and we going down Shagaramas. I sit down in the park car, waiting, and I saying my prayers. 2 minutes after, my son comes out crying. I say, Marcus, what is the problem? Mommy, they say I'm overqualified. I say, so they didn't know this before? Because he had his commercial life. I say, so they didn't know this all that time? I say, anyway, in my mind, I knew exactly what was happening, but I didn't tell him. I said to him, don't mind that, son. The day will come. Continue to work hard and continue to press on, which he did. 3 years later, there was another ad for the same Coast Guard, but this time for an officer. He applied, and he was successful. And the same guys who got it had to call him sir. Was that a lost opportunity? Never. You know, and so this is why I always say, when the time is right. And I believe in the universe, and I believe that life is a puzzle, and the Creator fits the pieces.
Lady Montano, thank you for being on the TEDxPortofSpain stage.
Thank you.